Hello everyone, Cup here, and welcome back to some more Mechabellum. I went up against someone playing really aggressively with mass fangs and some rhinos. Let me show you how I defended that. I am starting out with supply specialist and fangs and sledgehammers. And my opponent is cost control and is starting with fangs and stormcallers. I'm deciding to pick up some crawlers here to put on the very far left and very far right. I basically always do that as soon as possible against stormcallers. And in general, my board, all my units are spread out as much as possible, so I'm already covering the entire width of my board to make it as hard as possible for the stormcallers to shoot multiple units at the same time. And I can see that my opponent is already positioning in a way that they want to push on one side, with fangs in the front and the stormcallers behind. And they added some more fangs to put on the front and some more, so now they are basically aggressive on the right side and the middle kind of. Stormcallers taking out my fangs pretty quickly. But my sledge is also taking out the fangs pretty quickly, and my crawlers are coming in from the right and taking out the fangs, and the fang pack is dead. Now they are distracting the stormcallers, and on the left as well, crawlers coming in. Fangs, opponent's fangs did not hold out long enough against my sledgehammers and crawlers, so my crawlers could run in and take out the stormcallers. I really like intensive training with sledgehammers. However, in this case, my opponent already decided to go for more fangs, and I already know that they want to go mass fangs basically. And sledgehammers already one-shot fangs, so intensive training is not really that good here. So I'm deciding to skip. And I'm adding some stormcallers myself. Stormcallers really good against fangs, of course, because fangs are so slow. And whenever I see my opponent going for a lot of fangs really quickly, I decide to go for stormcallers as quickly as possible. And I'm positioning my stormcallers in a way that they are kind of in the middle, in between two packs of my opponent's fangs. So that two stormcallers will shoot left and two stormcallers will shoot right. And hopefully this will have the biggest impact, the biggest punch, so the rockets take out as much as possible. My opponent decided to go for rhinos, so there's a level 2 rhino coming in on the right, and on the flank, right flank, there's a level 1 rhino as well. I don't really have the best damage to deal with rhinos right now. Stormcaller damage is good, but they also need to hit, and rhinos are pretty fast, so yeah, as you can see, most of the missiles are just missing. When the rhino is moving, there's no way the stormcallers actually hit. Good call by my opponent here. Rhino's really good against level 1 sledges. They just one-shot, and they are too quick for the stormcallers and also take out the stormcallers pretty nicely. Also good against my crawlers, so yeah, rhinos were just the perfect choice here basically. Good against everything I have. Yeah, the one rhino is really low, but unfortunately did not die. Rage rhino here, kind of scary. Hopefully my opponent doesn't pick it. And I'm going for an overlord. I like picking overlords a lot against aggressive strategies like this. They are pretty good at dealing with rhinos, and also just in general, just anything that's aggressively pushing in. The overlord's damage with a little bit of splash is really good. And I'm picking launcher overload here for the overlord right away. I'm taking a credit for it, because with that, the overlord is just so much better. It takes out the units really, really quickly. And you lose some range on the Overlord, attack range, when you pick Launcher Overload. However, when I'm playing against aggressive strategies like this, they push in, so my Overlord is in range of enemy units basically all the time. So it doesn't really matter, the range. And I also picked a defensive missile against the Rhino at the top. My opponent also spawned some Fangs on the flank to protect the Rhino. However, now my Overlord finally locked on to the Rhino and taking him out pretty quickly. The level 2 Rhino coming in, but is slowed from my sentry. Hopefully that's enough. Overlord shooting twice, 3 times and dead. Very close though. Rhino was almost at the tower. And yeah, just a couple of Fangs left. The Fangs got taken out pretty quickly by my Stormcallers as well. And now it's just cleanup time. My Overlord actually managed to level here, taking out some Fangs, some Stormcallers, and a level 1 and a level 2 Rhino. And there's an Amplifying Core, which I'm picking, and upgrading the Overlord with Amplifying Core now. So my Overlord is really good. It deals a lot of damage and has a lot of HP now. I took a credit last turn, so I'm pretty poor right now. I really wanted to get the Launcher Overload right away. Putting down a missile again to slow the Rhino there. It was really important last round. And I also put some crawlers in the opponent's flanks there. Just to... well, for one, they are open right now, so they might go through and actually take the towers. But also, my opponent then, starting next round, has to deal with those and actually put something there. And basically spread out their money on the board and can't fully focus on aggressively pushing me. So hopefully that will kind of make it a little bit easier for me to defend. My opponent has a level 3 Rhino now in the flank and picked up the photon coating upgrade, so they are pretty tanky. And my crawlers ran by, so it didn't actually tank the Rhino, but the Rhino is actually walking past the tower. For some reason that mobile beacon did not work. And Rhino's just moving and moving, and now it's slowed and it's finally standing still to attack my crawlers, but it did not take the tower. So that was a big fail by the mobile beacon. For some reason that did not... I had it happen before too, and I don't really know why. It looked like the mobile beacon was dead on the tower, so it should have attacked the tower in my opinion, but yeah, I don't know. It's sometimes it's weird. Just a couple of Fangs left. My opponent picked the range upgrade on the Fangs, so they are starting to deal some good damage. However, Overlord's still alive, and Overlord, good thing about it, when it's alive and you win the round, it's 400 damage, so it's always good to start pushing back basically your opponent and put them on a timer when they push aggressively like this. You don't want to give them a lot of time so they can mess around and mess you up. The sooner you can take them out, the better. And I picked up the discounted crawler card so I can upgrade them for free. And I also picked up upgrades now. So Mechanical Rage and Replicate. It's really good against Fangs actually. Especially if you put them right in the Fang's face. The crawlers just rush them and then take them out and replicate. So they kind of overwhelm the Fangs. It's really good actually. So also with my crawlers in the flanks now, they are actually scary. They are not that easy to defend. If my opponent just puts, I don't know, some Fangs that they thought might be enough, they are actually not, because they are leveled now and have upgrades and replicate especially. So they might run over the opponent's defense. So let's see. And my opponent did actually put Fangs there, but also leveled 2 Fangs, so I'm not sure how that works out. A lot of crawlers dying before they get in. However, now they got in and they start to replicate. And my crawlers actually win because of replicate. So they take out the tower on the left. Opponent mobile beaconed one of the rhinos across the board to my left tower. However, by the time that one gets there, I already took both towers and took out basically everything else. It's just the rhino left now. A couple of fangs on the left, but my swarm of crawlers is really quick. They run pretty fast and they replicate as soon as they get into melee range and take out some fangs. Tower buff actually preventing my crawlers from winning that fight. Bad timing there, but doesn't really matter. My overlord is still there, still really tanky. There's no way a couple of fangs can take it out. And my flank crawlers leveled again, so I can actually level them up again for free with the discount. So now I have level 3 crawlers in the flank there, so my opponent needs to commit even more to defend that. It already wasn't enough last turn, and with level 3 crawlers especially not. So yeah, I'm leveling whatever I can, because crawlers are actually good here. Oftentimes I do not level my crawlers when they are just there to distract. Because when you level them, leveled units in general, when they get killed, they give more XP to your opponent. So if I just have some crawlers to take single shots somewhere to distract as chaff, then I don't level them. But in this case, they're actually good against the tanks and take them out, so leveling them is really good. And I'm going for 2 more overlords here. Trying to defend across the board against rhino pushes. I need the damage. And I'm actually getting the armor plating now. So my overlords take very little damage, or actually no damage from fangs, depends kind of. The level 2 overlord should not be taking damage from the level 1 fangs for sure. However, my opponent now went for the armor piercing upgrade, I think it's called. So they deal more damage, and now they actually deal damage to my overlords even through the armor. Overlord's doing some work, but also dying kind of quickly to all of the upgraded fangs. So this isn't going as well. Coming in to take out my second tower now. And let's see how my overlord does against the fangs here. It is taking some damage, but not enough. So level 2 overlord with the armor upgrade and amplifying core, just too much. Still not able to get through. Senior defense specialist, everything has more HP. Good for the crawlers as well as the overlords for sure. And I'm deciding to pick up 3 packs of level 2 crawlers. As well as place a couple of sentries to slow the rhino and take out a level 3 pack of fangs there. And I'm putting my crawlers on the left there in the very front, so they can start charging the fangs right away. So the closer they are, of course, the quicker they can get into melee range to actually kill them. And my opponent, by the way, had to commit 2 packs of level 2 fangs in the back there to deal with my flanks. In hindsight, I should have probably started selling them now, because they just provide free XP, I think, to the tanks in the back there. Or I should have reinforced the flanks. One of the two. But I think I don't do anything about it anymore, so that might not have been the right call. Trying to figure out what I'm doing with the rest of my money, and I still had 300 left. And my opponent went for some melting points because they got tired of my overlords not dying, or the one overlord at least. And also Iron Beam, trying to take out the overlord, but it's tanking all of the Iron Beam pretty much. My crawlers coming in and actually distracting the melting points that my opponent built. On the left actually ran over the melting point. On the right, melting point locked on to my overlord now. With the tower debuff, still taking quite a while to kill me though. And the crawlers actually MVP. They ran through the left and actually took out the melting point there and took out the towers. And that's what won me the round here. So the crawlers made all the difference. So the 3 packs of level 2 crawlers in the left front there were really good. Going for a missile device specialist. I don't think it really makes a difference. Maybe for the Rhino. I'm not sure how much damage it is for the Rhino. I really like Missile Device Specialist, by the way. This isn't the best match for it, but if your opponent is pushing with like leveled steel balls or something, then the additional damage on the sentry is actually really good. And I also picked up the poison here, the acid on the crawlers. So now when they die there, they will actually still leave the acid and hopefully help deal with the melting points. And I'm unlocking a melting point and buying a melting point myself. Just to make sure I have something to deal with my opponent's melting point. If they this time around can deal with my crawlers better, then I might have a problem with the melting points. And I'm putting a shield on the left front there, or I was trying to actually, because I've expected a sentry, but fortunately no missile came, no sentry came. Crawlers coming in. On the left there's a Vulcan now, and the Vulcan actually taking care... actually not. Can't actually take care of all my crawlers quickly enough. And the crawlers ran over the melting point as well as the Vulcan, sort of. And on the right as well, my overlords doing work. The melting point really didn't do anything, so it was just my crawlers. The crawlers were MVP here. And also overlords bought me time and did some good damage as well, of course. But the highlight of this game for me were the crawlers. Running over leveled up crawlers with upgrades can be really scary actually. And yeah, as you can see, even on the left there, the Vulcan was not able to take out the crawlers quickly enough. They just swamped the Vulcan as well. And took out the Vulcan after all. So yeah, upgraded crawlers can be really good. And launcher overload overlords, really good against all kinds of aggressive pushes in my opinion. I built them really early to hold the line basically. And that bought me time to then go into the crawler shenanigans. So yeah, this was a fun game. Thank you guys for watching, like and subscribe and stuff, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, bye!